Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of this YouTube channel. My name is Harpreet, and today I'm again joined with Gautam. We're gonna continue from our last conversation we had on this channel, the recent episode. In that video, Gautam shared tons of insights on how, like, what are the things an international student can do in Canada. He shared his own stories on how the things helped him and helped the people he knows, and how it even the like many social media platforms that we can use. And in that part of video, like, we were talking about LinkedIn, and there was tons of question I wanted to ask Gautam. And but Gautam agreed, like he said, like, why not we just make a separate video on LinkedIn and how it can be helpful for newcomers, for students, and average students, even international students in Canada. So Gautam, again, thank you so much for joining again today with us.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure last time, and the feelings are mutual again. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today, Harpreet. So, thank you again for inviting me today.
Oh, thank you so much for joining in. The thing is that I have checked out your LinkedIn profile and you have added tons of detail on it. And then I also can see, like, LinkedIn help you to get this job, LinkedIn help you to get this particular activity, right? But compared to my LinkedIn profile, like, I have added stuff on my profile, but it's nothing like that. And I know, like, you can really share some beautiful golden insights today. Uh,
Absolutely.
so compared to the videos we used to have, like an interview video, I I was like thinking about to do a separate kind of video. So I have like collected couple of questions I had last time. I have collected questions from my viewers, like they send me some messages, and I also researched on internet and thought, like, oh yeah, this might be a question that can be helpful for young students. So if you don't mind, like, I just wanted to share that with you and some get your insights on it.
Sure, sure. I think that sounds like an interesting plan. So, shoot at me, and I'll make the most of it and help you with that. Yeah.
Awesome, man, awesome. Uh, so just first question I have here is that, like, they say you should include much more details on your LinkedIn profile than on your resume. Like, what you think?
So, when I think about these two things, LinkedIn profile and a resume, in my opinion, both of them are live fluid documents, which means depending on the person we are encountering with or the person we are having a conversation with, we are including that much amount of information on either of these things. Now, let me break this down into much simpler terms. So, when you are trying to meet a recruiter on LinkedIn or you're trying to send a connection request to somebody on LinkedIn, that person doesn't really know who you are or they don't know what your previous experiences were. So you want to include relevant examples and information on your LinkedIn profile. Because when, for example, Harpreet Singh is sending a message to a recruiter from an XYZ company, you want to help them understand your experiences. You want to give them a detailed explanation of where you've worked, what are the achievements you've had, and things like that. So on LinkedIn, you want to have a lot of information related to your work experience. Now, when you meet in person and you're going to a company door to door, to give your resume, you can't really include things like your profile picture or, like a tagline or endorsements like you do on LinkedIn. So I think it's that gamble you play between where you include information. I cannot straight away say, LinkedIn should have more and resume should have less. The scope of including a lot of information is on LinkedIn. On resume, you have to zero it down to that particular job, that particular company. So if I'm going to an FMCG company, which is more in production and manufacturing, my resume need to be tailored towards that particular job and company. Whereas my LinkedIn can actually give a summary of, a lot more experiences, lot more industry exposure, and lot more skills. So I hope that answered that
It
question.
it answered. So like you can be a little bit vague on your LinkedIn profile, but when you make your resume, like you feel like we should be really concentrating on what that job offers us, and like uh, orientate our on like experience related to that particular job, right?
Absolutely. Yep. I think you got it right. You mentioned the experience, which is most important because LinkedIn gives you that scope to add a range of experiences. But on resume, for example, if you are especially in Canada or even a lot of countries, they're expecting you to have it on one single page. So you have to play it smart and include the details that are relevant to that particular job. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So now I get this idea, like you have your own separate LinkedIn profile, you have your own resume. Now, my question is, should you include your LinkedIn profile URL on your resume, or you think like it should we shouldn't include that? And if recruiter wants to like take a look on your profile, he can just search on your name and just have a look. What do you say?
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting aspect to talk about, Harpreet, because 80 to 90% of the jobs that we are applying today, we are applying it online. We
Yep.
are applying it directly through the website or through LinkedIn or through other social media platforms. Now, when they open that resume, it's actually in a PDF format, right? And everything there, if you include a hyperlink there, they can actually click on it and actually go into that website. So why not use that golden opportunity to include your LinkedIn profile? And I would even say if you have a website or a portfolio for yourself, you should be including those links in your resume. And it is always an advantage rather than anything else. So a huge yes for that question.
That
Yeah.
really interesting. Like, if you can create hyperlink, like you can literally share your website. They can click on your website and take have a look on your whole portfolio, like what you did all the time.
Exactly, especially you, Harpreet. You've had the series of beautiful videos on YouTube where you've interacted with guests. Just imagine including that on your resume, and in one click, they're able to see all the efforts that you've put in the last 4 to 5 years. That's the power of hyperlinks on a digital resume.
Yeah, that's really good. But chances are like 60-80% it will work. What if like if they're like looking at the paper resume, that might not
Yeah.
work. They have to like type manually maybe.
Yeah, when you're giving a paper resume, yeah, it's not a great idea to include hyperlinks. When you're giving a paper resume, I'm assuming you're going more for part-time roles and you're more in a casual networking session, because in any other situation you're most likely uploading a resume into a
Uploading the
portal.
resume.
Yeah.
Ew. All right. So I know like now here's the difference between my profile and your profile. Like we both have our LinkedIn profile, but you stays active on your LinkedIn. You likes other posts, you create your own content, you share this stuff. But I don't do that often, like compared to my other social media accounts. So does that matter in your job recruitment like journey? Should you just create your profile or should you also try to active on LinkedIn, like once in a month or once in a week?
Yeah, I think engagement on LinkedIn is crucial. It is extremely important, to be very honest, because if you just create a profile, recently a stat is telling me that there are over 600 million users on
Mm,
LinkedIn. That typically tells me that around the globe, so many people have created a profile on LinkedIn, describing what they did.
yeah.
Now, if you're not really engaging on LinkedIn, not just liking or commenting or sharing, but really trying to add your thoughts to others' posts, or even just creating content by yourself, I think the algorithm of LinkedIn is not pushing your profile into your network. Your profile will start getting lesser views and the visibility starts reducing more and more, because LinkedIn as a social media platform wants to promote people who are engaging constantly, who are constantly sharing their thoughts, who are commenting on other posts. Now, when you're commenting, you just don't want to be like, thanks for sharing or appreciate your post or things like wishing you the best. This is very generic. What everybody expects you to is add your thoughts about it. Even if you're commenting on one post per day,
Mhm.
that's really nice than completely ignoring it. So I think it always starts with engaging. So if I know you bringing this comparison, Harpreet, but I think there's always scope for improving for each of us. One thing I constantly try and do is, today, if I get some time, can I engage with some posts? Now, when I say engage, it's about not just liking it, but actually commenting, actually trying to share my ideas about it. So I encourage all your viewers and anybody creating LinkedIn profile to not stop at just creating the profile, but please stay active. Please try and engage with other content creators.
And just curious, you do that like just to be part of engagement, or you also do that like to see as a ROI? Like if I'm engaging today, maybe in a couple of months, maybe I can get something back.
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid question. It all boils down to your why of why you created your LinkedIn profile. Now, as students and as working professionals, we want to have a good network, a professional network of people who are working either in our industry or our future interests of wherever we want to work. Or there are people who are actually building businesses, they want to get leads from LinkedIn. Or there are people who are doing casual networking, they are just there because their company or school has asked them to. So I think it really depends on why you have created that. Because for me, for example, in my opinion, I've created my LinkedIn profile to maintain a professional network. So for me, it is very important to start engaging and start commenting on other posts. For a person who has a business or a startup, or who wants to, who's calling themselves an entrepreneur, they want to be a thought leader. So they want to start sharing their thoughts so that other person perceives them as somebody who has knowledge. So it really comes down to why you've created that profile. That will help you decide whether how much should I engage on LinkedIn or not.
Yeah, I really love that answer. I really love it. Now my next question I have here is that like, and I think it's a really good time. You can also maybe share your own LinkedIn profile. My question is that what does a recruiter see on LinkedIn if they're looking for a potential candidate? And just adding up, like, what will they see if they're looking at your profile?
Thanks for bringing that up, Harpreet. No, definitely sharing the screen here would help me. If you could quickly allow me to share the screen, I will do it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, go
And
ahead.
then we can touch upon some key areas where
Mhm.
the recruiters focus on. Yeah.
All right. Uh, Everything done from my side. Go ahead.
Okay. And I'm also going to share some quick tips for y'all
Yeah,
to,
that would be wonderful.
yeah. So I hope y'all are able to see my screen,
Yes.
my profile. So this is something we've also tried and touched on in our previous video, Harpreet. Looking when a recruiter is opening LinkedIn, they're always trying to search with keywords, on the top search bar here. So say, for example, they're looking for somebody in clinical trials, the department that I work in. That's the kind of keyword you need to include in your headline here, which is right below your name. So let us start from the top. The recruiter, any recruiter who's searching on LinkedIn, gets hardly about 6 or 10 seconds, to view your whole LinkedIn profile. So in that 6 to 10 seconds, the first thing they want to make sure is, does this person have an approachable face and a professional photograph as their profile picture? You don't want to look very serious or very unprofessional in your profile photo. So you have to make sure you've got a profile photograph and have a subtle smile on your face, and appear yourself as somebody who's approachable, somebody who I can quickly connect and ask if they're interested in this particular job. So that's number one. Number two is to include keywords. There's one word I want to mention. It's called keyword density, which means if you're looking for a particular job, make sure the keywords of that job are included in your headline. For example, I want to, work in marketing and healthcare specifically in clinical trials. So I made sure that I included marketing as a keyword here, and I've also included clinical trials here. And
Nice.
in my headline or in my cover page as well, I'm trying to show that I am a public speaker and, where I've been engaged in public speaking activities. So in that first snapshot itself, through pictures and words, you want to communicate who you really are to that recruiter. So I think keeping in mind these top three things is very important for a recruiter, to judge how skillful is this person or not. Now, you might tell me, okay, Gautam, anybody can add these keywords and just create pictures. What else does the recruiter look for? If you scroll down a bit, there are two important areas that a recruiter looks for. And I've just edited this 2 to 3 days ago, Harpreet, to highlight what I've done in this past week. And if you see the featured section, you can add links, you can add your most engaged posts, and you can add any photo or an article that you've written on the web. So this is an excellent section where you can highlight your achievements and your recent engagement activities.
Nice.
That's number 4. And number 5, which is probably I'm calling it number 5, but it is important, is your about section. Your about section is a brief summary of your skills, your interests, your achievements, and your core, qualities of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So in a nutshell, these 5 things: your profile picture, your headline, your cover page, and your about section, your featured section, and lastly, which I didn't mention but I would call very important, is what is showing up in your activity section here. If you're somebody who's silent on LinkedIn, this section will show as there has been no post,
activity.
no
Yes.
activity in the past 90 days. And
It
that's
shows
a
on
very
my
dull
side.
moment for a recruiter. It tells them that this person doesn't really engage on LinkedIn. They don't comment on anybody's posts. They don't share anything. They don't create any content.
True.
So these are the key items on your LinkedIn profile, which a recruiter really wants to look at.
Dude, like, yeah, on my LinkedIn profile, it says like there's no activity in last 90 days or something.
Yeah.
Now I'm definitely gonna rewind this video. I'm gonna create my profile, and I'm gonna share that profile with you. Like, hey Gautam, like, check this out.
Sure. And this is an open invitation to anybody as well. You can include my Linktree link in the description below. If you really want to have your LinkedIn profile reviewed, I've opened my calendar for any kind of meeting invites. So please feel free to connect with me, and we can work out together. Yeah.
That's really wonderful. Now, important question. So when you take a look at many students' LinkedIn profile, on their profile pictures, they have like green, open to opportunities, seeking opportunities. Should you have that, or you think like it's not a good idea to have that, but just have a professional profile? Does that help?
Yeah. The reason why I felt a bit concerned about this the first time it was introduced is it's straight away giving out a message that you're looking for opportunities or you're looking for jobs. So in my personal opinion, I'm not a great fan of this feature. The reason being, when you're trying to connect with somebody anonymous or you're trying to connect with your future employer, you are straight away showing on your profile picture that it is regarding a job.
Intentions, yeah.
Or it's clearly stating away your intentions. Now, it might play out well in some situations, but in a majority of it, people find it difficult to accept your invitation, when you're just open for opportunities. So I would say try it out. I always believe in experimenting rather than assuming. So try it out for the first 30 to 60 days of your job search by seeing how recruiters are responding to you or how your potential managers are responding to you. And then I would say remove it and then start sending a request and see how the response is. So this is a question where I would say you have to experiment for your own self to know how it is.
Yeah, in my opinion, like if I would like to add here is that like if you really like if you're recently graduate, maybe it might be a really good idea to have that. But if you're already in a job and you're looking to upgrade your job, I think it's better to don't have that, because like when you again same thing, if you connect with someone, when you just try to just open a conversation, even if you don't have that intention, they're gonna say, oh, he might be coming for that reason to me. So yeah,
100%.
but
Yeah,
if
I
you
think
are,
you've
yeah,
hit the nail right there.
if
Yep.
you're but recent graduate, or if you're still in college looking for co-op or stuff, I think that might play out well.
Oh, that's true. I think you've differentiated the importance of it really well.
Hmm.
When you're new and you're just trying to get your first job, I think it helps you a lot. But when you're transitioning, like you mentioned, I think it's much better when you just have those conversations without the filter.
Without showing that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. So when you were showing your profile, like I have taken a look at your DP, right? Like profile picture, a good white T-shirt. So my question is that, like, so now you already mentioned that you should have a good professional headshot. What about the other pictures you shared randomly on your profile? Like, should you always be concerned, or like what I'm showing is like should always be a professional business suit, or you could also be like a fun, casual, or you think like this is not a platform for that type of content?
Yeah. Again, in my view, I think it comes down to who you want to be portrayed as on LinkedIn. For example, if you're somebody who's in the travel industry,
Yeah.
or you're promoting tourism and travel, and you're promoting about vacation packages, you're somebody in that kind of a business. I think you won't be most likely in suits every single
Casual.
time.
Yeah.
You want to be in casual business casuals, or you'll probably in a much casual outlook.
Hmm.
So I think it really depends on your profession. It really depends on who you want to be portrayed as and how you want others to see you. And just to underline that one point you mentioned, LinkedIn is not really a platform for you to share your personal life pictures. I think you've got some
Yeah,
other
that's
social media platforms to do it. It is a professional network. It is a place where instead of having a meetup in person, it's a good place for you to connect with other professionals on LinkedIn. And if you see, a lot of people create videos on LinkedIn as well, and it's more in a business casual and a business professional setting. So my answer is, please make a judgment for yourself. Unless you're in that casual tourism or travel industry, try and make sure you're posting pictures that look more professional. Yeah.
perfect. Perfect. Just gonna add to that, like with the question. So what about like if you leave some comment, or if you're liking some stuff, because that gonna show on your profile, like you like this post or you share this post. Should you always be considerate about that stuff as well? Or again, I think you may say like it's how you gonna represent yourself, but you think
I
like
would
you
say,
should
why not?
always
I
be
mean,
professional, like
yeah, I would say, be careful with, what you're engaging with as well. For example, although I may and you may we have our own political and, sports or any views of our own. I try and stay neutral, as well as also pose my own opinions on LinkedIn. Now, if a person is judging you based on those views, it's about their concern as well, and you don't really have things in your control of which one should I like, because again, you're doing what you like,
yeah.
you have your own interests. So be a little concerned, especially if you're trying to get into a particular job which doesn't really support this, or which is not in this line. But otherwise, I think uh, every person knows very well what to engage with and what not to engage with. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. All right. Next question. This is more of like I would say this question is for someone who is already being using LinkedIn. I would say like it's not for recent graduate, but they are using LinkedIn for a while. The question is that, and I have seen this question asking like from so many people in on online. They say like I should only post content related to my own work field. What do you say? Like, what about you? Like, do you always try to share in clinical trials, or you all also try to bring some another content on your profile?
Now that's a very interesting question, Harpreet. So I believe people post content related to their work field and interests because number one, your network most likely is in your field, right? So for example, if I'm into marketing and healthcare and I
Hmm.
start writing content about finance, now my engagement rate might not be as much as how much I can get on my, marketing and healthcare posts, right?
Yeah.
Because my network is made up of people who are mostly in my primary interest, which is healthcare and marketing or education consulting. So I think every person needs to know that the post that you make is first, actually LinkedIn is giving it out to your first circle of network. So you
Mm.
have to know when you're connecting with a new person or when you're trying to send new connection requests, which industry am I focusing on? Do I want to connect with my own field or with somebody else? So I think you are open to, post in any other field or related to any other subject, but maximum engagement is always given when you post it in your own field. Yeah.
Now, before we go further, like, could you explain what's the first circle of network and second circle of network if someone is new to the LinkedIn?
Sure. So first circle of network is, people who you are already connected with. For example, if I have about 1900 connections, these may come under my first circle of network.
Cool.
Your second circle of network is your own connections, but also their connections who you are not connected with.
Mm,
And the third one would be like an extended line of this.
yeah.
It's the connections
Oh.
connection.
Mhm.
So which is actually difficult to reach out to, and as a marketer or as a content creator, your aim is constantly to expand your network. So the more you give out content related to your own field, the more your community is engaging with it. So you don't want to really deviate and post in other fields so much.
Yeah, I just had a quick question, like when you said as a marketer. So as yourself, Gautam, like whom you try to reach out more, like as to your second network, first network, or third network? When you try to like, yeah, I really want to share this as many as possible.
Yeah, I think my core network is my first, but I'm primarily focusing on expanding it to my second network as well, for my connections, because only that way you're going to expand the number of connections you have.
Hmm.
And only that way you can communicate your message with, maximum number of people. My target audience is more international students and newcomers in Canada, because I have always aimed to, help them thrive in Canada and help them, connect with resources here. So I'm focusing more on, reaching out to more and more students here who are mainly in my second network for now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And Gautam, like I would wonder, like if you could do me a favor and pull out your screen as well again.
Yep.
And because my next question is related to your profile.
Sure.
So
Yes.
I had this question again, like very important question asked on internet a lot. They said like on your LinkedIn profile, your headline should be your next job position. So what you say, like you mentioned that you put clinical trial management because that's what you're doing currently. But you think like what you're planning to do in 6 months or 1 year, you should also try that, adding that in your headline.
Yeah, so I think it does play out very well when you include keywords of your next job in your headline. So that's a very good point, I must say, for sure. For me, who's already working full time in a particular job or role, for me, the next 6 months or 1 year, it might be uncertain to decide on what keywords to use. But if you're a student or if you're somebody who's seeking for a job, you have clarity of thought, what
Hmm.
your next job is going to be. So at that point, for job seekers and for recent graduates or even people who are actually just studying and coming out of college, it's very nice. It's a huge advantage if you can include your future job keywords in your headline. For example, if
Yeah.
you're aiming to go into project management, you can include project management in your headline. If you want advertising and marketing, you can include Google ads strategist, or you can, whatever your future role title is going to be, you can include that as an action verb or a noun, in your headline itself. For example, maybe 5 or 10 years down the lane, I'm going to go completely into training and development, or completely into community engagement. So instead of just including marketing or just including community engagement, I included what I am doing as well, like a verb here. like coordinating learning and development programs, leading marketing and community engagement activities. So this way, even if I'm volunteering in these two areas, I know 5 or 10 years down the lane, these can turn out to be titles in my headline. So it's always a good thing to include those in your
Include
title.
this. That's amazing. Gautam, so you have like, I can see you have like 1900 connections, right? Is that connections or followers for you?
It is connections plus followers. It's usually it goes hand in hand. Yeah.
So when you create a new profile, you will see like you start getting connections from all the directions, and also you also want to connect with others. So you also try to send like, okay, send connection to this one, this one, this one, like on single day, send connections to 25 people. You think like that's a good idea, or you should only connect with someone whom you know personally?
Yeah, for anybody starting out, on building their LinkedIn profile or even just signing up, today or
Yeah.
tomorrow, I would say play smart. First try and connect with people who will accept your request, because you have to spend time connecting with people who are in your immediate network. Take your friends and family first, who really know who you are, and instantly, if they're working in companies, just and are also having LinkedIn profiles, start sending them requests, because at least you'll start building the network. Now, as a newcomer, who's just building a profile, if somebody sends me a request, first thing I try and do is also see how active they are and how many connections they have. Now, imagine if I'm the first connection they're sending me, I might be a little hesitant to connect with this person. So I would always say, try and reach out to try and connect with your immediate college professors, your friends and family, your immediate alumni network. These are people who already know you, and at least you can build out your first 100 or 200 connections like that. And then when you have that first 100 or 200, you can start reaching out to strangers, your potential managers and your future employers. So now they'll see, okay, Harpreet has 200 connections. I can accept this and start engaging with them.
Hmm.
So I hope that answered your question.
No, it did, but I have a quick question in adding to that. So you said like after adding the inner circle, which you personally know, and you can send requests to your potential recruiter and strangers. What do you think? Like, should you just send a connection, or should you also leave a message, even you never met that person, doesn't know anything about it? Uh, is it still a good idea to leave a message?
Yes. So LinkedIn, when you have a basic profile, it doesn't really allow you to send a message to everybody.
Mm.
For that, you might need LinkedIn Premium, but there is an option called personal invitation. So when you try and connect with somebody new, I can try and do that right now. So let me see if we can find somebody whom we can try out and send a request. So okay. There's this person called Pawan Satyaraju who is a managing consultant, you
Mm.
know, whom I've been following for a long time. So let's try and see if we can send a connection request to this person. Okay. So now, in order for me to connect this person, I have to click on more. For some people, there is a direct connect option there, but I would say do not have the urge to directly click on that connect, because it wouldn't send them any message.
Mm.
Try and click on the more option. So here, if that person has opened their profile to connect and have a personal invitation sent, you'll also have another option called add a personal note. So
Yeah.
let me try and connect with this person. If you see, there is
Add
this
note.
option called add a note. So instead of just clicking on send, which probably 1,000 of others are already doing, you have to stand out. So in order to stand out, I would always encourage you to add a note. So here I can add saying, hi, Pavan, my name is Gautam and am currently working as a clinical profile associate. I've been, whenever you're sending a connection request, always try and make it about them. What are you trying to learn from them? What did you like about them? So with Pawan, I've been following his YouTube videos and I've been following his posts regarding management consulting. So first of all, why am I connecting with this person? It's just not like a fandom moment. I'm not just connecting with him because I like his content. Maybe I want to get into management consulting. Maybe I want to work in the companies that he's worked, but my approach shouldn't be directly focusing on, hey Pawan, I want to get a job, can you please help me? That's not going to really help you connect with him. So here are a couple of things I want to include in this request. So one thing is, what did I like about him? So I would say, I've been following you on LinkedIn as well as watched your YouTube videos on management consulting. Thank you for sharing interesting insights. I've been working on improving my consulting skills. Now see, there's a limit of 300 characters.
Yeah, I was looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say, I hope we can. Now it wouldn't allow me to type more. So I'm probably going to cut down on what I spoke about my own self. So I'm going to say that, and I've recently graduated from a management school, or, a college, anything. And you can say, I've been following you on LinkedIn as well as watched your YouTube videos on management consulting. I'm also going to manage space by deleting these. I've been working on improving my consulting skills and would like to pursue a career in it. I hope we can connect. Now,
all words 300.
If you see, I've tried and managed this invitation in 300 words. What are few things I'm kind of mentioning here? Number one, greetings. Obviously, you want to mention hi Harpreet, or hi Pawan, or hi Suraj, whoever it is, right? Or hi David. And then you're trying to introduce yourself in as little words as possible, because you don't want to brag about yourself or give a whole summary of who you are and not really talk anything about that other person. Because Harpreet, 9 out of 10 people are actually, talking all about themselves in the invitation, and not really making it about the other person. So when you don't do that, the other person is never interested in connecting with you. So a couple of things I did here is, I mentioned who I am and where I've graduated from. You can include your college name as well. And then I've said, what did I learn from this person? Or, why am I even connecting with this person? These two things. So what am I learning from this person? And then why am I connecting with this person? And my call to action. Always at the end, include your call to action as to what you want to do. And then once you've done, I always say, and my mentor Sukhjit has also mentioned this, always do a spell check, before sending anything to professionals or anybody. So I always do a spell check before sending. YouTube is probably asking me to change, and then all I do is send. That's it. This way, it's in your sent connections. So yes, go ahead.
Before you go to the field, could you again pull up that profile of Pawan? Yeah. What's the difference between the notes you send and the message here, which is locked for you? Because they're gonna get as your note as messages, right?
Yep. So if you see, this is a feature by LinkedIn profile. It's called the InMail Feature. So what happens here is, LinkedIn pushes this message more to Pawan, because Pawan might be receiving about 2,000 or 3,000 requests per day. But a premium InMail kind of gives him a notification that he got an InMail from Gautam Rawalapati.
Oh,
That way, it's more likely, like, LinkedIn itself mentioned, it is 2.6 times more likely that they open it and respond to you.
cool. And I believe like for that, like you need to get a premium account, I believe, right?
Yes, it's good that we can even talk about premium in a bit, because, but if I have to list out the top 3 benefits I've seen in premium, is number 1, it gives you access in sending these InMail requests to people who are having lot of connections. Like Pawan here has about 75,000 connections. There are people more than 100,000 connections as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult to connect with these people. So LinkedIn Premium allows you to send at least a message to them and share your interests. Number 2, it gives you access to an online learning tool called LinkedIn Learning, which will allow you to access close to probably around 15 to 20,000 videos on different skills. And third thing, LinkedIn profile will tell you who's watching your profile. Right now, if anybody views my profile here, it wouldn't tell me who's watching it. It just tells me 2 interesting views. There's one person who works at City of Brampton who's watching it. There are 9 people at this company watching, but you don't really know who's watching it.
Mm-hmm.
By knowing who's watching it, you know who you
Who's
can connect
interested?
with, who is really looking for you. So yeah, I think LinkedIn Premium has great amount of benefits, but as a beginner, you don't really have to have it. That's my humble
That's
suggestion.
what I wanted to ask here. Like, should you have a premium account like when you just recently graduate? You think because many of students like I believe like few months back I had received this message like, should I buy premium? I just graduated. So if someone asks you like, what would you say to them?
My humble suggestion again, Harpreet, would be to try and max out your resources available already on LinkedIn without the premium. For example, when somebody, if you're trying to work through your job search process, there is an option called jobs here, and on the left side there are free tools that LinkedIn is giving every single person, no matter if you have premium or not. Let us touch base on 2 tools that you might think only premium users have, but even a basic user has access to it. Number 1 is your interview prep. When you go into interview prep, it says this is a tool that you can get instant AI powered feedback on the delivery of your answer when you practice and record a video. What this does is there are about 25 to 26 questions here on the left side. What is your greatest weakness? What is your greatest strength? Tell me about a time you showed leadership. What you can do is you can click on practice and get feedback. You can record a video, and artificial intelligence will actually, with the help of artificial intelligence, LinkedIn is going to give you feedback about how that answer is. And this is absolutely free on LinkedIn.
And no one else gonna watch this video.
Nobody
like, this
else is going to watch it.
Sent to AI.
Exactly. It is private video. In fact, for tell me about yourself, I've actually practiced yesterday. Now I'm not going to open it, but again, this is an answer private to me. So I can watch all my answers here saved as Gautam's answer 1 or 2.
And did you get a response for this? Or like how many days usually AI get for to response back?
It's instant. You get instant feedback from AI. It talks about if you were using any words that it's probably not relevant. It'll tell you if you had or any disturbing words used during the answer. It talks about your tone and your flow of your speech as well. Now, let me give you a bonus tip. Once you record your answers, you can click on this and even you can share it with one of your connections and you can ask them for feedback. So I can share this with you and I can ask for your feedback as well.
Oh, like it looks like this should be in a premium account. Like I literally had no idea like this LinkedIn has a feature.
Yep, that's true. So make use of it, and another interesting feature is these are just common questions, Harpreet. If you click on categories, job wise, you can practice questions here. What are the questions a software engineer is being asked? How do you measure success for yourself technically? What kind of team dynamic do you excel in? Or how would you explain a web service infrastructure?
And,
Anything, even a business analyst, you can get those relevant questions here.
and
And
you can
AI is
also
giving you
see,
feedback.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can also see like sample answers from
Yes.
professionals.
Now, sample answers you can only get if you have a premium
Okay.
access. Yes.
Wow. That I really didn't had any idea about this one.
Yeah. So that's number one. Number two, pretty quickly again, is you have salary insights.
Mm.
Before any job, I always say do your research about salary insights. So when you go into salary insights, you can click on a job title, for example, administrative assistant in, I don't want the United States for now, but for Canada, if I search, it's going to give me the range for administrative assistants, and it also gives me the list of companies that are offering it.
Mm. Is this,
So
could you also like, can we do that like just in Ontario or just in GTA, or it's all just from Canada?
I think you can zero it down to Ontario, Toronto, Ontario, Canada as well. And then let me click on search. So it gives you in Toronto as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, it can really help someone who just want to step in to see like, because this is the question they're gonna ask, like, what are your expectations? What are you looking for? And you don't want to undermine yourself, and you also don't want to like put high bar for you.
Excellent. Exactly. So especially when you're heading into an interview, the intention why I'm showing you these features is LinkedIn is not just for you to just create a profile. You really, if you start exploring LinkedIn, there are these hidden gems inside it, which can help you prepare for your interviews, know insights about your salary. And even when there is a tool called Resume Builder, if you just simply upload your resume, it will tell you if you're including the keywords or if there are any formatting issues or not.
You use that a lot, eh?
I use that a lot. I mean, I leverage LinkedIn for
Yeah,
anything that I prepare. Yeah. And I
definitely.
encourage you all to do as well.
Uh,
Yeah.
this was a very last question, but I want to add it here is that like, should you also try to apply jobs on LinkedIn, or you think like the other websites, Indeed and ZipRecruiter, are much more efficient compared to LinkedIn?
In my personal opinion, LinkedIn is much more efficient.
Hmm.
Not to undermine or kind of underestimate the other platforms.
Hmm.
For me, LinkedIn kind of gives simple filters, where you can create job alerts. You can kind of also filter through companies and your first set of network, and you can apply much easier on LinkedIn than other profiles. So simple answer, I'm a little biased, but I kind of find LinkedIn more helpful when I'm applying for jobs. Yeah.
Okay. And Gautam, my last question, because like we really talk about a lot of things, but this is a myth and common misconception is that like when someone say, hey, are you on LinkedIn, and people will say like, no, LinkedIn is like full of experts, everyone sharing their expertise, everyone sharing their thoughts. What you say about that, like if you are coming on LinkedIn, should you also share your expertise, like, oh, this is how you do it, this is what, or you think like this is just a myth and misconception?
I think it's a huge myth for sure, Harpreet, because the reason being, I can give my own example. I've started actually, building my network on LinkedIn. I probably had hardly 5 or 10 connections in the year of 2018 or
Mm.
2017 and 2018. And that's the year I even thought, what do I have to offer my community, or, do I have any skills? These are the questions. If you know the answers for, and if you know that you have a particular skill, you can just start sharing content about it, no matter if you have 1 million followers or even if you have 10. I always say it always starts with one step at a time. Always start creating content, and then you'll see it'll start expanding your network as well. So please don't bear this in mind that you have to be an expert, you have to be an extremely well-known professional to actually stay active on LinkedIn. No, that's a huge no. You can always start from scratch, start building your niche audience and start knowing in which area you can create content, and that will help you reach out to good opportunities.
Perfect. Gautam, so I'm done with all the questions I actually selected, but I now want to just ask a personal question, like for myself, like just to get guidance from you. So I'm planning to start engaging more in LinkedIn, and I have two expertise, like in my construction field and then content creation related to YouTube and interviews. What I was thinking originally, like I should just let have my profile just to be construction and create a page for my another stuff like a LinkedIn page. Would you suggest to create a page, or you think like I can actually align both of uh, fields on my profile just as a LinkedIn profile?
Yeah, no, that's something we have to think about when you want to create a separate page. My suggestion would be to merge both of those interests on your single page, because you already have a predefined network for now. So you want to make maximum utilization of that network, even though if you're not posting about construction. So I know your other interest, which is, posting content on YouTube, trying to engage with people, should also be on this current LinkedIn profile of yours. For example, you might have seen it on my profile itself that although I am into my primary field is healthcare, you know, I've utilized my featured section to post all what I have featured in, or the posts that I've created. Because when somebody visits my LinkedIn profile, not only do I want them to read my headline, which reads clinical trial management, or if I'm a public speaker, I want to show them examples of why am I a public speaker. Do I really coordinate learning and development programs? Do I really engage in marketing? Am I really helping students, or what kind of content am I producing? So in a snapshot, they have to see all of this in your featured section. So my humble suggestion for you is please merge both of these interests and have it all in one place, because it just becomes easier, for recruiters or your target audience to understand who you are. Just putting their eyeballs in 2 or 3 different places is only going to make it more inconvenient for them. So bring it all in one place and include the links and posts in these featured section.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. I'm gonna do that a lot. Like
And I can help you doing that. Sure.
Of course, like again, I'm gonna set a calendar invite with you, like with your schedule, and we'll see like if we can have a meeting, because like after last video we did together and after the LinkedIn conversation, I just created a page and I had this idea like I should separate my professional construction field and my just like a YouTube stuff. But and then I created a page and zero connections, no one was following. Then I was wondering like, oh, I have to start from scratch now. So yeah, I really like that suggestion. I'm gonna really work on that.
Absolutely. Yep. You have a nice set of connections on LinkedIn already. So we must utilize it, and we must communicate who Harpreet is. And the same goes with everybody watching this. You might have that interest in you, which you probably are thinking, how do I include it? It may be a website you created, a post you created, or probably if you're giving some kind of tutoring classes, or if you're a public speaker, just include that in your LinkedIn profile. It's all about you trying to help others. So how you can contribute to others should be communicated clearly in your LinkedIn profile.
Perfect, man. Thanks so much for sharing that. And again, like, thank you so much, Gautam, again for joining in with us. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Harpreet. I'm looking forward to helping more together. So, and wishing you the very best as well. Thank you.
Yes, thanks.